It is only getting worse. And I got to break some perception bubbles here because last night I had the opportunity to be interviewed on Saks Realty's live stream, and I had an incredible conversation with some other. Well, first of all, with Todd Sachs, and then also with other realtors from around the country, who were sharing about their experience in the housing market and how they're advising their clients. And um, I'm not going to go into a deep dive or attack anybody personally because there is no attack, but I am committed to telling you the truth. And I want you to be empowered with the most actionable information so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, for your financial bottom line. And all of the data that I have shared to empower you in order to be able to have leverage and negotiate and know what's going on. I share this in my videos. All of it is lagging. All of it is an academic exercise with no economic value. The only way that you're going to know what's happening in real time is to actually drill deep into the data that exists in the hyperlocal market that you're shopping in. And there are certainly professionals out there that are happy to do that. And I am happy to connect you with them. I vet these people. I know that they know what's going on. I know that they know how to negotiate and advocate and do the right thing for their clients. What I did not know, and shame on me for being so stupid, I did not know that there are people out there that are pumping the narrative that real estate only goes higher. I did not know that. I had absolutely no clue. Well, if that is what you think, I got news for you. That is not true. And you are going to need to back up before you get smacked up by the reality of what is likely going to happen based on real leading indicators. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And I'm so upset about this. I'm so fired up about this that I woke up, took my kids to school. I'm wearing I don't even know what I'm wearing. I don't care. I didn't do my hair. I don't care. I need you to hear the truth. The truth is, well, number one, we got CPI data coming out today, and maybe inflation will be a little bit better, and maybe it won't be, but yet to be determined. If we see a little bit of improvement in the CPI number, well, then, and again, I don't trust any of these numbers. You shouldn't trust any of these numbers. The unemployment numbers that have come out, I don't trust at all. I know all of this data is being manipulated. I know all of this is happening on a higher level, and no politician's going to tell you the truth. And I was shocked to learn not every real estate professional is going to tell you the truth, because not in every case is it true that you should buy a home. Now, real estate market data, housing market data is lagging. I talk about this all the time. It is the last economic thing to fall when the market crashes. However, there are plenty of leading indicators that point to what is very likely not likely, is going to happen at some point in the future. 100% guaranteed. When is the fuse the fuse has already been lit. The fuse was lit a long time ago. When does the bomb explode? I have no clue. And it is totally possible. They continue to kick the can down the road into the future, and that will be great for home values in the near term. The bubblier markets, or the bubbly markets, will get bubblier. And that's just the way it goes. But at some point, the music stops. And if you don't have a chair to sit in when it does, you are in trouble. And I don't want anybody to be in trouble. So it's important that you understand exactly what you're signing up for when you buy a home. And what I heard last night is that, well, it's an affluent market. It's different. The economy's strong. It's different. Um, you know, incomes are high. It's different. And I heard somebody talk about the wealth effect, which is infected a lot of people. And because things look strong right now does not mean anything as to what the future looks like. And so let's talk about what the future is going to look like, because right now, right now, we're being lied to. Unemployment numbers are strong, right? No, they're not. In fact, they are highly underreported. I took the liberty of doing a little bit of research for this interview last night, and I found that the hours worked are underrepresented. I don't know, let me get you the real stat here because I want to make sure I get it right. Hours worked is down by a tenth of an hour. Well, that doesn't seem like much. That doesn't seem like a big deal, except if you extrapolate that across the entire market, what you find is that's equivalent to 500,000 job losses, which is not being represented in anything that they're talking about right now. So the Fed's plan is working. It's working. Unemployment is real. Job losses are real. They're happening. They're just being disguised in new metrics like what I just talked about, that hours worked are down by a tenth of an hour. Well, that's not a big deal, right? I think it is. Because let's see, if the people that live in these houses, and there's a lot of people who live above their means. And one of the things I heard is, well, these are high income people. That's great. Up until they're not. What happens if you make $1 million? Let me get this. If you make $1 million and you spend 1,000,001, you're 100 grand in the hole. And there's lots of people that have had access to fast and easy money. And that is no longer the case. We have debt levels at the highest point in history. We have savings levels at the lowest point in history. And the Fed is continuing to break the market. It is continuing to break the banking system. And there will be bank failures. There will be mass consolidation in that sector. And there will be a few big banks left standing. And they're going to be controlled by the government because they're in bed with the government. That's the way it goes. Or what is this? JP Diamond. Jamie Dimon is laughing all the way to the bank as he sits here and continues to build his business. And Silicon Valley Bank failing was not, and the bailout associated with it is total bullshit. We're printing money. We don't have enough money to cover the uninsured deposits until we print more. But let's talk about what else is going to need to get bailed out, because it's going to need to get bailed out or there will be civil war. You heard it here first. Civil effing war. Back up before you get smacked up. The commercial real estate space is getting decimated, period. $600 million buildings in 2019 are on fire sale for 60 and there's no buyers. So what does that mean to you? Well, I'm not in that space. I don't own commercial real estate. Maybe you don't think you do, but if you have a pension fund that's invested in it or a mutual fund or some type of securitized product that's tied to it, and those balance sheets they're all underwater. But when that market fails, it doesn't just impact the the owner of the building or the commercial real estate market around it. It impacts everybody who's tied to that investment vehicle. And when pensions cannot pay out at the rate they're supposed to, guess what happens? Well, if they don't, there's civil unrest. That's what happens. There's people looting in the streets, rioting, cars on fire. Go look at France. No bueno. There's a big effing problem, right? Well, the government's never going to allow that to happen. So what will they do? They're going to print money. I got asked the question, do I think 4 trillion is enough? And then we've got the debt ceiling and this, that, and the other thing. Is it enough to cover the bill? No, it's not enough to cover the bill. There's going to have to be massive amounts of money printing, the likes of which we've never seen before, which are going to completely dilute our economy, our dollar, and put every market at risk. And so nobody's talking about it. Nobody's pricing it into their models. And that's just commercial real estate. Well, let's talk about the auto market, because auto repos are on the uptick, like something we've never seen before. I used the wrong data last night. I said there were 6,000 repos that happen a day. It's something like 15,000 that happen a day. And here's the problem. If you think we got a liquidity crisis now in the banking system, the banks that are repossessing these vehicles, and there has been massive predatory lending in that space. That has been a nightmare. So the ninja loans that happened in real estate and all of the things, the safeguards that were put in place in the past to protect the housing market, Yeah, all that's true. However, that doesn't mean that the housing market's protected, because when the consumer is in trouble financially and they're in distress, everything's at risk. So, okay, great. Their loan was approved the right way. Well, their car loan wasn't. And the banks that are tied to this, and I don't even know what that number is, but it's insanely scary. And I don't say it to scare you, I say it to prepare you. Those losses are not being realized because the banks are not selling those repossessed vehicles. They aren't hitting their balance sheet yet. They will. And so when that happens, if you think that the crisis that we just saw in banking was bad, I got news for you. There's going to be massive bank failures, and there is going to be massive consumer financial pain, which will cause distressed sales. And prices are set on the fringe minority of sales. During the last crash, during the great financial crisis, the overall market, I think there was 180 million sales. Only 18 million, 180 million. Did I say that right? Yeah. Um, 18 million of those were in distress. So 10% of the market was in distress. And what happened? I'm talking macro numbers here. The market corrected 30%. 30% fire sale. Well, guess what? It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. I don't know when. I don't know how bad. And neither does anybody else. I just know it's coming. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No, it will happen in the future. It has to. But here's the scary part. And here's the thing that people aren't paying attention to. And what scares me is real estate professionals aren't paying attention to it. They're not telling the truth. They're not telling you what you need to hear. They're telling you what you want to hear. The truth is, yes, the market can continue to appreciate, and some markets will be more insulated than others. But when the consumer, the masses are in fear and panic and financial distress, every market gets hit. Period. Period. So please don't think that the market is a one trick pony that only goes higher. It doesn't do that. There will be volatility. I've seen that in my markets and shared about it. We've seen volatility in pricing in Delray, in Boca, in other markets. And while one month we've seen double digit price declines, and then the next month, double digit price increases in terms of median or average sales price, I haven't seen double digit losses ever in my real estate career. And there's not a pattern yet. And the data doesn't support this yet, but it doesn't have to, because it's old, it's irrelevant, it does not matter. And yes, right now, the housing market in Florida, in almost every market, is still very strong. And I suspect it will continue to be strong up until it's not. But make no mistake, when all those other things happen, and they're going to happen, every market is going to be impacted. Now, Chris, what does that really mean? What does that mean if I have money and I want to buy a home in Florida? Well, here's what it means. Here's some good news. If you find your dream home, if you find your dream lifestyle, and you can afford to weather the storm, and you're not particularly concerned about what the value or the equity in your home is over the course of the next 10 years or 15 years, if you can handle that and you want to max out your life now and enjoy the freedom that exists in Florida, well, then I got great news. It doesn't effing matter, because over time, the markets will do what they do. And right now, there's 1,400 people that move to Florida on a daily basis. The supply side, although it's increased exponentially in terms of month supply, in terms of homes sitting on the market unsold, the new sellers, the people who are thinking about selling, that market has dropped radically. Nobody wants to trade out of a 3% mortgage into a 7% mortgage or a 10% mortgage or a 20% mortgage. But if you think that mortgage interest rates are going lower for the long term, they're not. Now, CPI numbers come out today. And if the CPI numbers cooperate with what and demonstrate, or they can tell the story that they are starting to cooperate. Well, then what happens with mortgage interest rates in the short term? They go down. And if you don't think that this is a coordinated effort to stimulate the economy and manipulate the numbers, well, then shame on you, because these people lie. Ben Bernanke was on the record saying that everything is fine right before the market crashed in an epic way, like we've never seen before. But yeah, there's lots of things that can be done and probably will be done to stimulate demand. And if mortgage interest rates go to 5.5% or close to it, it's off to the races again in terms of pricing. You're going to see markets get bubbly, markets will get bubblier. And again, my market is different than almost every other market. There's no more land to develop. So, supply, demand, scarcity of resource, we are in a very protected market in some ways. But if the consumer is historically changed by market dynamics, and they suffer financial pain and distress, make no mistake, there's going to be hell to pay in the state of Florida, in the country, in every market, period. And if you're opportunistic and you're smart and you have the ability to capitalize on those undervalued opportunities, you will make generational wealth. And if you've got money now and want to live your best life now, and you don't care about those things, which I got news for you, there are people out there that don't care. And it's not, maybe that's the wrong way of putting it. It's not that they don't care. It's that they want to max out their life now. They have the ability to afford what they want now. They can live their best life now. And fortunately, that happens to be most of my clients. Most of my clients who I work with, who I also vet and give them. In fact, I'll tell you a story that happened yesterday. I had somebody who reached out from California, and they're looking to max out South Florida living. They know what they want. We're going through the process, but she was scared. She was concerned. She said, "Hey, Chris, well, I don't want to buy at the top of the market." And I said, "Okay, well, let's just role play this. What if you do? What if you do buy at the top of the market? You found your dream home. You found your dream lifestyle. It has everything that you ever wanted, and you're thrilled about the property. Today, we close today, and you bought at the top of the market. You didn't know it, because tomorrow when you wake up, the market went to zero. Your house is worth zero, which, by the way, it's impossible. That's not going to happen. But if it did, well, what really changed about the property or your decision? Nothing. Nothing changed. It's still your dream home. It's still your dream lifestyle. And based on our conversation, you have acknowledged you can afford to do so. Well, if you get that wrong, that's on you. It's not on me. I've asked the questions. I've asked you to think about it. I've asked you to do your own due diligence. But there are lots of people who can afford to do so. And if they buy a home at the top of the market and the market gets smacked down to zero, which is, again, impossible, but it happens. Whoop-de-freaking do, because they were never planning on selling anyway. If you don't sell your home and the market crashes, you don't realize the loss. Nothing happened. You can afford to continue to live the lifestyle that you want to live. But if you have to sell in or you might have to sell in 2, 3, or 5 years, well, guess what? It's probably not a good choice. Not based on current market conditions, because current market conditions are on the uptick. It will create fear of missing out. It will make you think you must buy now. But if you're at peril and at risk, and your timeline does not line up with the car repo implosion and the commercial bank implosion and the economic implosion and the unemployment implosion and the stock market implosion and all the other risk factors that are leading indicators, if those things don't line up, then it probably doesn't make sense for you to pull the trigger and buy the home, period. So if anybody's telling you that real estate only appreciates, run away. Call me. I will connect you with someone who can tell you the truth, or I'll tell it to you myself. I am here to serve and support you in every way that I can. I am committed to sharing the truth about every metro in the state of Florida. I can do it much more granularly in my hyper local market. I can give you real time data, but anybody who's telling you that it's not getting worse is full of shit. Period. It is getting worse. And no politician will admit it. Nobody's going to go out there and tell you. Nobody's going to panic the market. That is not an electable position. But if you don't think it's going to happen at some point, then you are asleep at the wheel, my friends. And I'm here to wake you up. Now, I hope you found this content valuable. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. If I can ever do anything to serve or support you, please reach out. We would love to help. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in the state of Florida or really anywhere in the country, reach out because I will connect you with the best of the best, someone I vetted that I know tells the truth, understands the market, knows how to negotiate and advocate for you the right way. I would love to make that connection. But if things aren't lining up and you don't think it's right because you know where you're at financially and you know what your risks are, then please be prudent, be disciplined, and think through your decision because things aren't getting better. They're getting worse. And I'm here to tell you the truth. So please check out my next video because I suspect you will love it a lot. And until next time, peace.